everyone. Thank you so much and welcome back. It's always lovely to connect with you. I want to welcome you again to the latest installation of Ask Sheila. It's been a little while. If you haven't already done so, you guys know how we like to start with our candle here that burns for you wonderful subscribers daily. So please close your eyes and make a wish. Make a wish for your life, okay? All right, wonderful. I've made my wish. So let's jump right on into our content. I want to touch on something. I think we think about this topic quite frequently, but I'd really like you to kind of zero in on this word trust, what it means to you, what it has meant in your relationships, because I want to take a bit of a deeper dive today. I received a letter from a loyal subscriber, Persed. I hope I'm saying that right, Persed or Persed. I'm sorry if I'm messing up your name, but I want to start by reading her note to me because it really it triggered some things within me, got me thinking, and I really want to weave a message around the advice that I have to share with her. So here we go. Dear Sheila, I'm on a slippery slope emotionally after what I thought were 2 amazing years of building a rock solid relationship. I found that my boyfriend took his ex on a day trip, supposedly for closure. Turns out the day trip was an overnight trip as well. After much pain, angst, back and forth, and fighting, I decided to give him another chance. He said it was a stupid, stupid mistake and would never happen again. We've had counseling. He has done everything possible to reassure me, yet I can't settle into the relationship as it was before. I was insecure when I met him. Now I'm an insecure wreck. Even if he goes to get some gas for the car or grab a quick bite to eat, I call to check on him. I'm terrified when he has a night out with his friends. I love him. I truly love him, but I hate the person I've become. Any advice on this topic, Sheila? Yours truly, Persed. So thank you so much for your note to me and trusting me with a what sounds like a really heart-wrenching situation that you're in. And Persed, I do. I have a wealth of advice and information on this very topic, and I want to share it. I want to put it out here for not just your consumption, but everyone's review and edification and consumption as well. So when I think of trust, I I go back to the foundation that all healthy relationships are built on, not just romantic relationships, the relationship between a mother and a child. Mom, I trust you to care for me and to love me and to prepare me for the future. There's levels of trust that we have for one another as we're moving out here in the world. I trust the driver in the left lane not to veer over to the right lane. I trust that you've done your due diligence and have some respect for this awesome power you yield behind the wheel. So obviously, trust runs on a continuum. But when we're talking about the trust, I'm trusting you with my heart. I'm trusting you with the inner sanctum, this place of sanctuary within. The stakes are very high. They are considerably higher. So this is really the area that I want to zero in on. And what do we do when trust is broken? When these boundaries that we've set around our heart when they're breached. A few years ago, I had a friend over and I had been doing some journaling earlier that morning. And I have this kind of big, beautiful, colorful journal, and I just had it on the kitchen table. I forgot it was there. And my friend said, "Oh, it's a beautiful journal. You just leave it out like that?" And I said, "Yeah, who's going to read it?" And she's like, "You don't live in this house alone." I said, "Well, Andreas, I trust him. He's not gonna read my journal. She said, "Are you serious?" I'm like, "Yes, I am." And I thought about that moment. I hadn't thought about it much until then, but wow, I do trust him just that much. And I could not imagine a situation where there had been such a boundary violation where you kind of have to look behind your shoulders and be nervous. It happens. It happens. I thank God for a healthy relationship that I'm in today, but Lord knows I've had other relationships where violations of trust, betrayal, happen frequently, left and right. And I'll tell you that it can be so very damaging, really. And that said, I will also say this: people do make mistakes. People make stupid, ridiculous, idiotic mistakes. I certainly have. I mean, we're here, we're on a learning curve. I absolutely, I get it. And I'm well aware, if you guys have been watching this channel for any amount of time, there's so many videos on here where I talk about just energies, circumstances. People can be led astray. Now, I'm not trying to give anyone a get out of jail free card, but this is the reality. There are various influences. I'm not going to get into all of that in this particular video, but I'm sharing that because I do feel like a certain amount of bandwidth, receiving bandwidth from others and giving bandwidth. I think we all need a little bit of that just to make it through life successfully, because people, excuse me, people are going to mess up. Okay. So what do you do when there's been a betrayal, a boundary violation? What do you do when you decide for your own reasons to give someone a second chance? And I'm a fan of second chances, but I also am a bigger fan of well-informed second chances. And to me, second chances have to be set against the backdrop of: what is my history with this individual? What has happened or not happened before? I'm a huge fan of common sense. The underpinnings of this channel are: one, positive spirituality; two, common sense; and three, practical application based in over 24 years of clinical expertise. So you guys, I really come at it from all sides. So when I'm telling you that you give a second chance, you give a second chance in context. Okay, we don't give out second chances. You shot me in the leg. Let me give you a second chance. It has to be done in a common sense way, in a spiritual way, in a grounded way, and it's a deeply personal decision, and no one can make that decision for you. That said, I have extended second chances. I certainly have been given second chances. So I want to say this: I've really always kind of sat back and said to myself, look, am I empowering? Is this an incident? Because someone can do something colossally ridiculous and stupid and reckless, and it's an incident. They were led astray. There were other circumstances, and it's singular. It stands alone, and a lot of times those situations, people can learn from them. Oh my God, I'm a different person. My eyes have been opened. All that wonderful, fabulous developmental stuff. Or is it a pattern? Is it an incident, or are you empowering a pattern? Because really, it only takes two to establish a pattern. I like patterns, okay? One white rose, one red rose, one white rose, one red rose. We got a polka dot here, a green one there, a yellow one there. Okay, we've got a pattern going. It's different when people are when patterns are being established within your life, and your heart is being used as a playground So you have to ask yourself, is this a singular situation, or am I in the situation where I'm starting to empower a pattern or an established pattern? Because if you sit back and you think about, okay, how do I know if someone is going to do it again? You can only go by the weight of the history and what they've shown you. And 9 times out of 10, I'm not saying people can't change. They can change, they do it all the time. But you have a lot of juicy, good information. If this has happened over and over again, chances are it's gonna occur. It's going to occur yet another time. You can only go on the information and the data that is given. So when you're making that decision to give someone a second chance, you really have to take that in consideration. Am I looking at an incident? Is this an incident in my history with them? Is it a singular, or is it a pattern even from other relationships? That's why it's nice to kind of get a frame of reference of who you're dealing with before you let people so far into your life. I also want to say, when you think about someone's history and someone's pattern, you also have to factor in your capacity. Your capacity. There have been decisions that I've made in life. As I said, I've extended people second chances. There's been other times where I've just looked at myself and said, you know what? Um, Maybe you won't do it again. Okay. Perhaps you won't. But if you did, I don't have the capacity or the wherewithal to do the cleanup work. It's fair to make a decision like that too, just based on what my capacities are. And per se, you mentioned that I was insecure. I was on shaky ground when I met this man. And so now I'm a wreck. So that has a lot to do with just your capacity, your stability within yourself. And catch this, guys, because this is really important. So often we're asking ourselves, can I trust this person? Can I trust again? I don't think that's really the right question. Or let's say we're going to add on another question into that equation. And the question is, do I trust myself? Do I trust myself enough? If I deem this is an incident and I don't feel that I'm empowering a pattern, do I trust myself enough that if something else comes up, or if I feel that there's another breach, do I trust myself enough to cut it off and to really be bold enough within myself to walk away? And I see a lot of folks, if this channel is about truth and honesty with self. Many of you, love you dearly. We're not going to meet, most of us, we're not going to see each other face to face. That's what makes a channel so powerful. You can sit with yourself and ask yourself these critical questions. I'm not here to judge. No one else is judging you. I'm just telling you what I've learned based on many years of experience. That many people, they're fighting the wrong battle. The true battle is, oh my God, I'm wigged out because I'm not sure if I can trust myself. Now, when you have grown the trust within self, it makes it a lot easier to maneuver, and it makes a lot easier to follow, should you choose to, because everything is a choice. It makes a lot easier to follow this next piece of advice that I'm going to share with you. Now, it's controversial for some of you. It's going to fly in the face of everything that you've heard for many years. We've always heard this advice: you have to forgive, but don't forget. If you really want to rebuild trust, you've got to forgive, but don't forget. I say, basta. Throw that out. What I say is, the forgiveness must be there. You do have to forget, and you remember when you need to. Let me go over that one again. Forgiveness, check that box, yes. Forgetting about it, the pain, the hurt, the betrayal, yes. But tucking it away into a safe space so that if I need to remember it, I can recall all of it, really full, clear, and technicolor. Why is that my advice? Because it's common sense. It goes back to common sense. How are you going to laugh, play, have fun, enjoy, and it's in the forefront of your mind because you remember it every day when he goes to get gas. You remember it when the phone rings at a certain hour. And forgiving and forgetting is not even necessarily for the, it's for you, so you can function high and elevated in the relationship. But I didn't say be reckless and throw out the X file. You keep the X file in the back of the file, and if I need to pull this out, then I'm reviewing all those details. You know what? I gave you the clean slate. I gave you the slate. I let you back into the space of my heart. Now I got the X file right in front of me. You screwed it up. So we keep the X file locked away. Well, Sheila, it sounds snappy. How do I do that? How do I simply forgive, forget, and just put it back in the X file? You guys, you cannot, and this is a huge mistake that people make when there's been a boundary breach, whether it's a romantic relationship or a friendship. People want to skip over this really big, juicy, substantial, meaty part. It's called healing, and it's called reestablishing trust. And that's the part that can get nasty and messy, and people want to skip it because it's raw. I had this woman, she was on the verge of a divorce. Her husband decided, you know what I want to do, let's give this another chance. But there's some things I'm going to need from you as we're reestablishing trust. You know, you did a lot of damage. There were some crazy things found on your cell phone. You were leaving at various hours. I really want to make this work for the sake of us, for the sake of our children. You know, there's times for my own comfort. I hate that I have to do this, but there's times I'm going to want to access to that cell phone. I don't want to make you feel like you're in jail, but if you're with me on this, these are some of the things I'm going to need. Had to go through a lot of therapy, you know, and she was like, well, you know, I feel like that's not fair. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? You're the one, you put the relationship there. You put the relationship there. That's that big chunk that people want to bypass. It's called healing. And the healing is active. It's not just cute talk. It's rolling up your sleeves, and it is asking your counterpart, what do you need from me specifically? It will stretch you. You will be stretched if you're the person and your actions put the relationship there. You can look at it as a burden, you can look at it as a responsibility, however you need to configure it in your mind. But there will be a space and time where you feel like it's a proving ground, because it is. You are proving yourself worthy. I'm extending you the opportunity. That's step one. I'm extending you the opportunity to prove yourself worthy of full reentry back into this sacred space. Well, Sheila, it sounds cute. How long is this proving ground? How long does it last? There is no hard and fast answer. I've seen some people where it takes a year or more. I've seen folks a few years. I've seen people 6 months. I mean, it's very individual to the relationship and what this person needs and what the relationship needs to reset. It requires talking. It requires set aside time to soothe, to comfort. You may have to answer questions more than one time, more than two times. But if you skip that piece, that proving ground, that coming back together, reestablishing the bond, those are the relationships that never successfully reset and move on. I've seen people come back from betrayals and hurts, and they are stronger, and they boot, scoot, and boogie. They use that as a piece, as a powerful reminder of what we have. I've seen people say, I just didn't know how beautiful and special the relationship was until it was threatened. We will never go back to that place again. Matter of fact, I hate that it happened, but all things I know now, I wouldn't change it because we're stronger for it. Now you have a choice in this. But again, is it a singular incident that I'm learning from? I've rolled up my sleeves, or is this a pattern that is throwing you into the bowels of hell. And you really have to be honest. You have to be honest with yourself. And then the other flip side of this, I'm sorry. My heart goes out to everyone who's ever been hurt. I've been hurt. Okay. And I mean that. My world has literally been rocked across relationship domains. I had a friend, what I thought was a friend, did a number on me, just cold as ice. A couple relationships there, the kind of betrayal that I hope no one ever has to deal with. So I get it. My heart goes out to you. Thank you, Jesus. These people are not in my life. They weren't worthy of it. But there are people who mess up, and they are worthy, and they're sorry, and they roll up their sleeves and they mean it. They want to earn their way back into your heart. And once they have rolled up their sleeves and they've danced with you and supported you in this proving ground area, and they've really done that seriously, there's going to come a point in time where they've earned the clean slate, and you need to give it to them. You need to give it to them for the health of the relationship. You need to give it to them for your sanity, and you need to give it to them because they've worked for it, and because, let's tell the truth and shame the devil, you've been given that by God numerous times over. So, I gave you a rich contextual framework for this advice. I feel like it's been very thoughtful, and I've looked at this from a couple of different angles. And I'll say again, it's an intimate decision. You have to decide. But per se, you had asked me, how do I reestablish? How do I find my comfort? If he has done everything you can and sufficiently, you've seen what you need to see on that proving ground, then if you cannot find it in your heart to let it go, create that X file that you put in the back and only remember it when you need to. And you don't need to when you're watching a movie. You don't need to when he's going and get gas. You guys, I'm telling you, I'm kind of like a safety and security fanatic. I have a personal alarm that I carry with me. I have pepper spray that I carry with me. You guys, I forget about that. I forget about that when I'm out and about, I'm having a good time, but best better believe if someone tries to start some crap, I know exactly where to pull it out. And I can remember real fast where personal alarm, the pepper spray. I know, and I trust myself. So I don't want to live my life. Oh my God, who's behind door number one? Where should I go? I don't want to live so paranoid and in fear that I don't get a quality of life. Best believe I've got the pepper spray and the other items at all times. But I don't want to lead with that energy. So I think you understand a little bit of where I'm coming from. I certainly hope that the information has been useful. I love relationships. I love healing. I love trust. I love self-respect. I love self-care. I want everything in its elevated state. So I hope that you can take the information and apply it to multiple areas of your life. You guys, if you love what I'm putting out, please share the news of the channel with your friends and family. Also, do subscribe. I'll be back real soon with some more fresh and uplifting content. Thank you so much.